Do we have any public comments on the agenda or not on the agenda?
We did not receive anything ahead of time, and we do not currently have anyone in attendance. If that changes, I will let you know. But we can go ahead and move forward.
Very nice. I'm going to read the minutes of last meeting. Thank you, Jerry. And can you have the approval, please? What did you say? Can you approve the minutes?
Oh, yeah. I move to approve.
A second.
I think we did, we had, Jim had originally approved or, motioned, and then, yeah. And then, Kevin had, or who was the second? Okay. So we do have a motion by Commissioner Basigi, seconded by Commissioner Buckholz. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Okay, minutes pass.
Thank you. May we review the 23-24 work plan?
So a few notes on this, based upon the meeting last month. The main changes you will note is in the age recertifying as an age-friendly city. You'll notice that I did adjust the section which indicated that there would be note taking. Again, it was to participate in the focus group, and then I know several had taken a look and attended some of the community meetings that we had. So I did indicate those as completed because those have been completed to date. And then the other change based upon the conversation at the last meeting was specifically on the social participation. There was the adjustment, the initial meeting by Commissioner Nagao and Commissioner Olson. The initial meeting with our recreation coordinator, Chris, has already occurred, and then we have upcoming with some discussions based upon some of the findings that will be shared once we get the action plan in October. So those are the main adjustments that have been made. And so please take a look, let us know if we missed anything, and obviously we can make any other adjustments as needed. But I wanted to specifically highlight that those are based upon the changes recommended by the last meeting.
Anything else on the work plan that needs to be looked at? Any input from our seniors? Any input on the work plan?
We were gonna bring up an item, Jane, is that where we're gonna bring that up, the item that I mentioned?
Yes, so at a previous meeting, there was a mention as a kind of a future topic or future idea, was the idea of hosting some sort of health fair. And so maybe that is something, if the commission is interested, you could identify where that is. The one reminder I wanted to mention to the commission is that obviously planning that type of event does take some time. And so we should look at maybe a little bit further out. But at the moment, commissioners can only serve on one ad hoc subcommittee at a time. And we currently have 5 of our 7 commissioners tied up in ad hoc subcommittees. So the first one with social participation, that's anticipated through at least October of this year. And then our task force, which that is slated to go into the October, November timeframe as well. So again, commissioners can only serve on one ad hoc subcommittee at a time. And so it could be something that you could place on your work plan, maybe for something that could be looked at for maybe sometime early or mid next year in 2022. So food for thought by the commission if that is something that is of interest.
I'm interested in that. Since I don't have my name put onto any ad hoc committees, maybe I can start looking into it right now, make some notes to share with everyone.
Did anyone go to the Cupertino fair that they had, the health fair?
I didn't, no,
You did?
no, I did not.
Okay, I did and Lynette did, so I was wondering if anybody else did, because she went towards the beginning and I went towards the end, and it's a lot of work. I mean, it was a really good and robust one, and by the end of it, am I talking out of turn? No. Anyway, they ran out of all their written materials practically. They weren't expecting such a big crowd, so. And they had snacks and food to buy, there wasn't one thing, by the time I got there, anyway, there was some written materials which I didn't pick up. But I was impressed by the, number of vendors that were there in a way, and then I was not impressed by other vendors. And I have a very strong feeling about the situation, and that is that, I want things at the health fair, I know I'm biased, that are open to everyone, and there were vendors there that, like, for example, daycare charged $300 a day for daycare program. Now, you gotta be a multi-millionaire to to plan that out, to have that for even a week, whatever. But what I'm saying is that there were a certain proportion were, I don't know if you noticed this, for profit, and their profits were high. And then there were the nonprofits, and I always favor the nonprofits. So I think, I like to vet it out so that, we err in the direction of making it open to everyone that could possibly come, that could be helped. And I don't know, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so I have a question, if we were interested, I'm interested in being the sole ad hoc committee member for this. And I want to know some more about this. Is it possible that I meet with the two people who attended this? And we can set up a meeting sometime during this month?
To get information, absolutely. And so, actually, for, Councilmember Lee Ing, you could absolutely get information, at least for, Vice Chair Cohen. Maybe, Jane, if you can, send me your notes, I can get that to Shavri. And again, just to make sure that there isn't, a kind of misconstrued, because again, so that there's, doesn't seem like there's two people. But I can make sure that that information, you can get that.
No, if you and I meet,
Yeah.
then it would be two members of the commission. And that would not be
What
okay.
town is such, listen to me, what about Lynette? Is that what you meant with Lynette?
Yeah, and meeting with Councilmember Lee Ing would be
That
okay.
would be okay, that's not.
Correct.
I just have a point about the whole thing about this. And that was, couldn't it come under the 50s+ program as a new program that they want to do? And they could take charge of the plan, the oversight of the planning and all that? And then we could be advisory and help and volunteer, whatever, but I was just thinking, why does it have to come under the senior commit? It doesn't have to, I mean, I don't know, I was just thinking, we have options.
And
Then
so,
it would be under Chris and your program planning too, Chris and Chris? It could be under them, their subcommittee, but not working on it right now because it is a lot of prep work. There's a lot of things you have to do to get it going. So anyway, that's another thought. Is it possible that it could be a new program under that?
Question.
So I would also recommend, instead of just the commission, I think we can also look at other organizations. If you think back years ago, the Chamber of Commerce would do a small business fair right here at Lacey. So putting it together, they have businesses, if it is geared toward the seniors or programs, getting the chamber potentially as a partner. So they could also add their marketing, they can get their businesses that are part of the chamber, it might be a business.
Could they help financially with something like that?
Maybe it's also working with the city, that the city could forego the rent of the building, or depending on where we want it and how many vendors, because Lacey is pretty small. I wonder if downtown State Street Market might be open or I don't know. Then you're getting into tents.
Yeah, you're getting into a lot of things. So how about, yes, we need to listen to Dr. Wackels.
No, I think I was just, I'm sorry, no, it was you, I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, I'm not the.
I've been involved in planning health fairs before. Age-friendly does not restrict to seniors. So that there needs to be integration of different, age groups, and particularly since part of our goal is to have collegial relationships with seniors and younger adults. I would like it if we could get something scheduled at whatever is the appropriate time to investigate this, looking at what is the purpose? Because as a physician, to me, a health fair looks at wholeness, not just whether your body works. And I think that it is germane to broaden the perspective on what this could do for the community. One of the things that is health related, as far as I'm concerned, is building community itself.
I also was picturing sitting under the action plan as one of our goals. Because the action plan is gonna go out 3 years or so, isn't it? Something like that. So I think it should kind of double count in a way.
So we have a lot of information amongst us. We have a lot of information outside us. Next month, we are not meeting for the senior commission meeting. Is it possible or is it appropriate that the senior commissioners can meet next month, not have a meeting, but exchange ideas?
So if there's, any type of bringing together of commissioners, and so actually I think, Commissioner Buckles kind of hit the nail on the head, and Shawbury, Chair Dixit, if you, because you had indicated, at least an interest to kind of gather some of these thoughts and ideas, it sounds like there is, a majority of the commission that is interested in this, idea. Now, obviously, there's lots of, details and things to work out. And so I think timing wise, Chair Dixit, if you are interested, maybe getting some information, and then we could bring that back to the commission when our next regular meeting would be in August. We do not have a meeting in July, and that would give some time to get information and maybe bring that back to the commission. We could agendize that for a discussion to determine, to hone in on the focus of maybe what that might be, based upon some of the information. Doesn't have to be August, it could be after that as well. But maybe that is something that we could take a look at, and then could bring that back.
Bring things together, that's what I'm saying.
Mhm.
Can we as a group meet, not call it a meeting? Well, maybe just meet here, it's the commission, it's the community center.
But then it's a special meeting.
Yeah, so if there's, it starts to,
But what if they're not sitting in a row?
Special meeting, you can, if the majority of the commission can vote to do so, if you want to do.
Oh, that's a good idea. So let's first ask, is everybody here in July?
Do we want to do it, you mean?
I move that we have a special meeting.
Okay, but is everyone here in July? Yes, yes, you're not here in July, so one person.
Things have not changed.
So whoever is available, we meet here, we can sit in one of the rooms and have a cup of coffee and talk about this.
No, it would have to be, so if we bring the commission together, it would be under this format. So you would still, it would have to be a commission meeting. It wouldn't be an informal meeting. And I guess my only question is there a reason that it has to happen in July?
No.
And because again, timing wise, I think it is something that, Chair Dixit, if you do get some information, we could do the regular meeting in August, bring all of that information back and then do that, at one of our regular meetings.
We don't have enough stuff to have a special meeting yet.
Yes.
We're all trying to just explore that idea. And so,
I don't feel that we have an answer to whether we can meet together.
So if it's,
Or under what circumstances can we?
no, absolutely. So the hard part is, again, that if you're going to be discussing things that are under, like, that would potentially be discussed at a meeting, and again, you haven't formally, the ad hoc subcommittee, at this point, we're talking about, assigning, Chair Dixit. You really can't then mix with other commissioners to discuss those topics, because then, for example, yourself, which is why I'm kind of the intermediary, if there's information that needs to be shared, again, it should be in a public setting or public forum, which is why we create those ad hoc committees so that you can meet outside. But right now, for that particular topic, it is just Chair Dixit. The other individuals are on other task forces, and again, you can only serve on one at a time. Now, you can have that conversation, but it needs to be in the context of an actual commission meeting. And so that's why it has to.
All right, I have another question. Can a brainstorming take place with sub-quorum number of commissions together? Just as she wants to do, and just simply make sure that the
No, and so again, because it's the topic that you're talking about pertains to something that the commission as a whole is going to be discussing.
He said sub quorum though, didn't he?
So you're talking about but that gets a little bit hairy, because again, that goes towards a subcommittee, and the city's being very specific that there are no, it is an ad hoc subcommittee, and right now, the only individuals at the moment that do not have a subcommittee until we assign Chair Dixit would be yourself, Commissioner Basigi, and then Chair Dixit. Everyone else is tied up in an ad hoc subcommittee right now.
Yeah, I'm sorry to drag this on, but I just need to get a little clarity around this. Sure. I was simply mentioning some form of brainstorming, not necessarily working on topics. Well, if you were to have a health forum, what would it look like? What kinds of items should be included in something like this? Just simply think about it without having commit yourself to any kind of a, pro forma agenda of any sort. Just simply talk about it, and then maybe they go away and and do some homework on it, and then we can have a commission meeting, and that could be presented by individual commissioners as thoughts that have been given to this topic, and here's what we might be the shape of the potential subcommittee or whatever you want to call it, or agenda item. Is that not possible?
It would be better if we did it so depending on the number of individuals, but again, if example, yourself and Chair Dixit could potentially do that. But if it's more than that, it is bringing in other individuals, and then it really should be done at a commission meeting. And so in that sense, again, timing wise, there isn't something that tells us that we have to do it in July. We could absolutely do it at our regular meeting in August. And then the full commission could have that open discussion. We can agendize that.
So we would put on the future agenda items.
Mhm.
To discuss. Yeah.
Correct.
so I have a question. Can we, at this meeting, inform all the senior commissioners that if they have ever participated in a health fair, conducted a health fair, know about a health fair, been a doctor or a nurse in a health fair, please let the information go to Jamie so that she might pass it on to me.
Yeah.
All right, next, once this information has reached, we're still not even sure if we want to have an ad hoc committee. Right now, we have none. We're just sharing this information with each other. So let all this information go to Jamie during July, and then in August, we can talk about this together. It's like cutting off every limb in order to climb a ladder.
No, I know again, at the crux of it, the thought is that the public should be a part of the process, and that's part of the reason why conversations and items that are under the purview of the commission are done in that way. So we can absolutely agendize the conversation, but it sounds like there is at least interest. So that is something that we can, because right now we're talking about the work plan. We can add that as, at least for right now, we have the health services. We can add that as an area on the work plan to update it. And then as the commission as a whole, we can agendize that for discussion in August.
Can I ask, I wonder if, kind of question?
Sure.
I wonder if there was a public meeting that was called just by public members to consider what a health fair for the community would be like. If more than one or two commissioners could attend that and listen to the public.
Yeah, so absolutely. There's other groups, other meetings, and again, senior commissioners can absolutely attend. The only thing that you would have to be cognizant about is if it started to be specific on, as we were kind of talking about, kind of that adult 50+ realm or things like things of that nature. So again, if it starts to lean towards things that might be discussed at the senior commission level, then the hope is that that conversation happens at a commission meeting versus, because absolutely, you're all community members. You could be at a similar event, but if it starts to go in that realm of the topic that you would like to or future are going to be discussing at a commission meeting, then the hope is that you don't discuss it and it's the discussion occurs at the commission meeting.
We could poll the community.
Absolutely, if there happens to
Maybe
be,
questions,
sure,
to let them do the brainstorming for us.
potentially.
Okay, let's move on. But to end this, we should decide which part of the work plan we would include consideration of the work, of the health fair. Would it be in social participation?
No.
Yep, there's also the community support and healthcare services, the last one, so we can work to, I can add that as a section. Yes.
And also that we should add August, is August possible? As a small discussion for what progress has been made.
Yes.
And everybody, unless you send your information to Jamie in July, there'll be nothing happening in August.
So I would like to add, Jane, your suggestion of possibly having it as part of the programs, I think that's something to consider. Maybe it is not a one-day event between 1 and 5. It could be a monthly something that I think it's worth looking into.
Yeah, that's an idea that we could bring
That
forward.
we could
That is
discuss
how we've done
and
things before, by the way, multiple meetings, multiple occasions.
and it could be part of the programming for 50.
It would be end of the program.
So I think of talking it through a little more to figure out where it might fit, where it's cost effective, where we get the best marketing and how we can get the best turnout. under health or maybe under social participation.
I do think we have to consider the financial implications because, for example, at Cupertino, I was surprised and delighted. They had someone in a golf cart waiting for you to come out, and then they took you to your car in the golf cart. You didn't even have to walk out to the parking lot. That was really very user friendly, very, it was a senior focused thing. But,
Yeah, I think to have something like that, it would involve staff effort. So I think we have.
There's a
that
cost
ability.
associated with
If
it.
we're able to, more or less underwrite something like this, to have those kinds of, to have that extended, coverage of this issue. It involves more than just simply the commission, it involves city staff. So what do you think about that, Jamie? Is that, how would we make something like that happen?
So it could be any number of things, and again, timing wise, I think that's something that we could take a look at. Again, it sounds like there is interest at the commission level, and so I think it just depends on what elements and again, it sounds like the Cupertino was quite extensive in what amenities and things that they had. So I think that it just depends on what is of interest and what's feasible.
All right, we can move to the informational items now.
All right, so we have a variety of different flyers that were included in the packet. The first thing, Bridget, do you want to share about the summer concert?
Oh, sure. So yes, we have our summer concerts happening. So on June 8th, the Peninsula Symphony will be at Grant and doing their concert. Then on June 13th, so then the rest of them go through on Thursday evening. So then on June 13th, Aja Vu, which is a Steely Dan and Chicago tribute, they will be at Grant from 6:30 to 8. So all the concerts are 6:30 to 8.
Is that Steely Dan, period, Chicago, period, the band is the tribute band for both?
It's a cover band and they play both of their music. It's not the real Steely Dan in Chicago. That'd be quite a budget. That would be quite a budget. So they're a cover.
We typically need a member of our senior group.
Yes, so that should be a really good time. And then we've got the Groove Foundation on June 20th. That's R&B, funk. And then the 27th of June is Sinister Dexter, which is horn-driven funk and soul. So those will be at Grant. And then in July, we have Mercy and the Heartbeats, who will be here at Hillview, 70s to now. They have a pretty long plethora of different music that they play. Then July 18th, we have Pop Fiction, which does pop dance hits. And then July 25th is the House Rockers. So they do rock and soul. So then those three will be over here at the soccer field. And then the ones in June will be at Grant.
I have a question for you, Bridget.
Yes.
How do these cover bands or music bands apply to sing at these concerts?
How do they apply to seniors? Well,
Oh, no, how do they apply to perform?
oh, good question. So many different ways. We receive tons of emails from them throughout the year, like probably last October. And then basically we take all their requests, gather them, and then look through all the music, kind of go through the participation from the year past, what was successful, what wasn't. And then we go ahead and choose the different musical choices.
And do
so
you have a form of some sort?
they actually could go to the website and they can just do a rec info email. That's usually how most of them would come in. They would just email and say, hey, I play this type of music. Is there time for me to put in my hat to potentially be in the following year. It's very easy and we're always taking new. There was someone who reached out to me the other day. Cause we usually have it figured out by January of who we're gonna pick, so I just keep collecting as they come in.
The relevance to seniors. I listened to Steely Dan when I was in college. The seventies certainly qualified if you were listening to a lot of music at that time. You would be in the age group that would be familiar to us.
It's definitely broader now, because now you've got the Gen Xers that are added to the AARP of the groups for seniors. So one thing that's really great about this event is it's,
Define Gen X. I don't know the exact dates.
so I think it's like 1968 to 1978 or something like that.
I remember.
I know, I don't know, I don't qualify. So
Well, I'm just saying, it's an expanded.
After
graduation from college
Yeah.
to starting medical practice for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bridget.
Sure.
And so I'll do just a handful. We also have our Family Fun Day, that's coming up. So earlier in the day, before the Peninsula Symphony, concert happens down at Grant, we will have, activities for families here at the community center between the 10 to 1 time frame. There is a dinosaur theme, so, it should be, a lot of fun, as well, completely free. And we usually have, I would recommend to get here early, just because there's a lot of interest and, we usually have anywhere from 500 to 700 families come and participate throughout that time frame.
It's
So,
crazy. It's fun. It's fun chaos, but it works.
and then before I hand it over to Chris, I will also highlight, just a variety. We have 2 of our favorite, camps coming back, Redwood Grove and Camp Jelly Bean. So if your neighbors, families, please feel free to share. Those will be coming back this year. And also, we are always looking, for individuals to help us on a part-time basis for a variety of different programs. We obviously, for our camps, although we're tying that, or finishing that so that we can make sure they're all trained, but in regards to our other programs, facility attendance, for our adult 50+ program, also to help with our pickleball program as well. So lots of opportunities for people to get involved, and assist with some of those programs if there's of interest. And then just volunteer opportunities as well. But with that, I'll turn it over to Chris to highlight some of the adult 50+ specific programs that were highlighted too.
Yeah, within your packet are 3 adult 50+ programs. The first one, speaking to Bridget's Steely Dan and Chicago concert next Thursday at Grant Park. We're going to be hosting a meetup at Grant Park before the concert, where we're going to have some refreshments and snacks, comfortable place to sit and lounge before the concert. And that's presented by Adult 50+, and we'll have a couple staff there. That's at Grant Park before the concert. So that's June 13th, Thursday, starting at 5 o'clock. The only requirement is that you're 50 and older. We encourage you to sign up ahead of time, and there's a link within your packet. Also coming up in mid-June, on June 20th, we have International Yoga Day. Our adult 50+ volunteer instructor, BJ, who many of you may know, is going to do some age-inclusive yoga demonstrations, a presentation, celebration of all things yoga. And you can bring your yoga mat or a chair if you'd like to do the exercises. And then finally, at the end of summer, we're going to San Francisco to the Wells Fargo Museum for a museum experience, the Gold Rush, Stagecoach, Wells Fargo history, with a docent leading the tour. And then following the tour, we will relocate to the Ferry Building for a variety of lunch options. That is a fee-based activity that's available on our registration system. that you can sign up for if you're interested, or speak to one of our friendly staff members for more information.
Any questions? Okay. So that's it for, and again, all of those flyers were included in your packet.
Excuse me, I can't tell, is Amina on the line where we can hear from Los Altos Hills?
Yeah, so, we did not hear, and Amina is not currently.
Let me just say a couple things.
Absolutely.
Because there's something I think you'd be really interested in. It's June 23rd, it's a Sunday, it's a cybersecurity seminar to learn how to protect yourself, which is very tricky. It's 2 to 4 p.m. It's in our town hall. And it's really, anybody's welcome, and yes, I think it's good for this audience too. Pardon me?
Do you have a flyer for that?
I'm
I
sure
don't have,
there,
I don't know. I'm just realizing nobody else is here, so, I'm just reporting.
I'm sure there is, and we can locate that and then share that information with the commission.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, next up,
Anyone's welcome, even we.
nobody's checking ID.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Some of their things are.
The hill people, yeah.
Don't be at the door.
Okay.
Same thing with our 4th of July parade, which is always great fun. It runs from, Town Hall to Gardner Bullis School. It's short. There's watermelon after. It's really great for all ages. Lots of kids are there. It's a lot of fun.
What time?
It's at 10 o'clock in the morning is when it starts, on July 4th, whatever day of the week that is. And then the last thing is we have a movie night, August 2nd, and it's Wonka is the movie. It's at our ball field. And again, not checking IDs. You have to pay for your own dinner if you want to bring it, but the movie itself is free. So those are the things coming up in the next 6 weeks or so.
It would be very nice if we could include all those in our future flyers.
Sure.
Can I make a suggestion? If we are not gonna get representation from Los Altos Hills, why don't you let myself or Dixie know ahead of time? I'm gonna stop by and pick up the flyers and bring in.
That's a good idea.
Do exactly what Commissioner Tyson did, except we do it with the with the flyers.
Sure.
So I'm more than happy to do it, at least from my point of view, so.
Sure. Thank you. Good idea.
Thank you so much.
All right, the next informational item is just an update for where we are in the age-friendly process. So, we had, we concluded, obviously, the third focus group, and we did have our town hall on Thursday, May 23rd. We had roughly about 35 community members in attendance at the town hall meeting. And it was a good, comfortable group, a very lively group that provided a lot of feedback and information. The meeting started at 1 o'clock, and discussion went for a good hour and 45 minutes, almost 2 hours. So a lot of active discussion and feedback provided by the group. So that was at least that part of the process is now complete. The next part is that I have coordinated individual interviews that Anne will be doing with city staff, and that will include development services, police, parks and rec, public works, library, fire. And so we will, across those, obviously many of those domains will be getting that information as well to include in the data collection. So that's actually going to be happening in the next 2.5 weeks. It'll be happening mid-June. And so once we get through that, that actually will conclude the data collection part. And then Anne will be working to bring all of that information together to write the action plan, which will occur over the summer. So at this time, as I've highlighted in the report, we anticipate that the task force will get to review that information late September. And then the draft of the action plan will be brought forward to the senior commission at the regular meeting in October. And so that's what we anticipate. They'll take any final feedback, and then if all goes well, we are anticipated to go forward to city council in November. for, approval and adoption. So, we're absolutely on track, in regards to the timing that we identified earlier this year. But things are going very well. So open to any questions if the commission has any. But we'll obviously keep you apprised as we move forward. But again, the information will come back to the commission roughly in the October timeframe, once all of the draft information has been put together.
I have one small question. I heard back from some of the adult 50+ people whom I work with at the Cultural Exchange that they had attended the town hall. And some of them had talked about increasing transport for seniors. And some of them had spoken about footpaths not being paved properly, not being supportive of adult walking or unevenness of walking that adults, seniors may have. Any of this be taken into consideration?
Yes. And so those comments were what was heard during the focus groups and the town hall meeting. And so all of that will be included in the action plan. It would just be dependent, I know at the town hall, Councilmember Fliger was in attendance, and just in regards, generally speaking, Los Altos, it has been a philosophical standpoint to not have sidewalks. But what was identified is, okay, what areas could be improved as far as paving of the streets or things of that nature. So to your point, those things were identified in not just the town hall, but in some of the focus groups as well. And so those ideas are going to be captured and included. But obviously, depending on kind of direction of which projects might be able to be worked on, that will be identified in the action plan as well. Absolutely.
Let me speak to that. Some of those concerns were also identified in previous park plans. So like, I'm gonna use Grant as an example, even though I'm not, it's within 500 feet of my home. I'm just using it as a hypothetical if it was located in another park, Springer, but I'm just giving you a picture. There is a walking path that goes around, and part of it is concrete and paved. And the whole circle was always identified in the parks plan to have it as a complete walking path. And that's why sometimes it's good to have a joint senior and parks commission joint commission meeting. So you can talk about these things and converse and talk about what you want to see improved at parks for seniors. And as they look at modernizing the parks, they can hear from you as well, and you can provide suggestions. You can talk about it. You have a lot of cities as well that are looking at exercise playground or areas that, like Mountain View has a lot of them, or San Francisco has a lot of them, where you have equipment that are for your senior population as well, and not just your toddler and children population. So, you might want to consider having a joint commission meeting, and that
Grant, excuse me, Cuesta Park just put in a park course.
Oh,
yeah, Cuesta, as well as, if you look at Rainstore Park, they have a nice equipment for adults as well. So, and other parks that they have in Mountain View.
okay, we could move on to the future agenda items. If somebody.
We also have, we have the commission and subcommittee reports as well in the next section. I did list the 2 subcommittees, not sure if there were any reports that needed to be shared, or it could just be no report. But I did include the 2 current ad hoc subcommittees that we have in the instance that it was needed.
We haven't been since our last meeting, so we don't have a new report.
Okay.
Neither have we, well, we will be meeting, let's see.
Okay, sounds good. And then in regards to,
Age friendly. Task force.
I'm sorry,
I can give a report for the age friendly subcommittee.
You can give a report for the age-friendly subcommittee. Now,
Yeah.
Anne O'Brien has done an amazing job getting the information that has been presented to her in a usable form. She has a very long, age-friendly potential programs. And I think that it would be useful for us, the commission, and other people who are involved in this whole process to know about this prior to the official report. I will send this, you probably already have this, don't you, Jamie?
correct. So the potential projects, as far as process goes, I think the preference was to have it go through the task force first to make sure that it was inclusive, and then to the commission in October. I don't know if the intent was to share it so broadly yet, just because it is still being worked on and compiled. But I can check in with Anne as far as timing, as far as when that can come
A
forward.
reason why it should not be shared at this time with the commission?
And I can double check with Anne, but I think it would be a little bit premature, only because we hit, the idea was to have that through the task force, and it's not complete yet, because what is on the projects list is just through the first two task force, or I'm sorry, the first two,
Focus groups.
the first focus groups. It doesn't include the third or the town hall. And so it is not complete yet. And so I think the thought was to make sure that that was kind of in a closer to a final draft before it was fully shared.
I'm just wondering, would that information be helpful now for when having discussions for the program? I mean, that's 4 months off, you know?
I can double check with Anne.
Would it be appropriate? I'm just thinking, if we're gonna be putting something into play, having something that has already shown up in 3 focus groups, at least can be part of the conversation, and it could then potentially be included, rather than waiting until October and then submitting, which then pushes it off the next summer.
No, absolutely. I think, again, just process-wise, formalizing it, because again, a little bit putting the cart before the horse. It has not been reviewed by the commission. It also hasn't formally been approved or adopted by city council. So if there are things in there that are not, looking at priorities, I would just caution that, the idea is to have it go through that formal process. And I would just be leery of trying to introduce some of those things before it has finished that process yet. I know it is a timeline, but this process in and of itself, if you look at when we started the AARP survey, it is a process to go through. And so I just don't want to put some of that forward before. No, absolutely, absolutely. Doesn't hurt to ask. The only other thing I was going to add for, at least on the staff report side, is that, we are getting ready for our summer season. And we do have our summer activity guide, that is open and available. So if you have not gotten, a copy, please stop by the front counter, and pick one up that has all of the information, upcoming for what will take us through the August timeframe. And then in addition to that, and we didn't, include the flyer, but I will share it once it is available. We will be hosting our Glorious Fourth event, on July 4th, down at Shout Park. And that will be in the 10 to 2 timeframe. And so once that flyer is finalized, I will make sure that that is shared with the commission, but that has been, we brought it back, last year, in 2023. And so, we will be hosting that again this year, upcoming.
Yeah.
Yes, so there, we usually collaborate with the Ye Old Town Band. They have usually provided, concert, music. We've usually had addresses by the, current mayors. Usually, last year we did have, both Los Altos Hills and Los Altos, provide, addresses. And then, there is activities, and, food trucks as well. So it is a kind of an all-inclusive event.
Is Los Altos Hills participating in this?
That part I'm not sure yet, because I think we're still working out logistic details.
The absence of the park and recreation director, things have fallen to crack a little bit. So I'm wondering if there's any roles out there she and I could play in connecting whatever you might want out of the Los Altos Hills in this particular,
Sure.
event. So if you just let us know, and we'll just go and sit down with them and talk, and we can make something happen.
And Jim, in defense of our staff, our largest event of the year was yesterday.
Oh, I think they did a magnificent job. I so agree with you. Yes, yes. True enough. But I'm just simply saying, in regard to the 4th of July, if there is something that can be done to more or less continue the theme from last year, we can do that.
Okay, but both events are at the exact same time.
Yeah.
Ours and theirs, so.
But they are at different times.
No,
They're at 10 o'clock on the 4th.
Yeah, but ours is,
Ten to 2.
is it? Oh, okay. In that case, I think, I stand down. I was trying to make something work, but yeah, it's fine.
Don't worry. Don't worry. But that is it for staff report.
Very good. Do we have anything that we want to address for the future agenda?
Outside of the topic for the health.
We talked about that already extensively. So that's it, we can call this adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. All of you. Thank you.